Really interestingly, actually, I want to just focus on when you proposed the investment to me, because you'd sort of said, yeah, I can help, blah, blah, blah. And it was all cash. And then I was like, right, well, tell me what I need to do then, because I'm in from the conversations we've had. I want to know what it is you do, because I think that point, the driving force was the results were not great. I was putting so much into something and owners weren't getting the results that I wanted them to get from the amount of input I was putting in. I was like, hang on a minute, it's shit. Like it's a very low percentage of people that are coming out the other side from working with me that are like smashing their goals. And so I think the dog walking was a factor. I did want to ditch that. I wanted more income. I wanted more time. I wanted all of those things. But I think the ultimate driving force was I could have just stayed with all those things, but I wanted people to do better. I wanted them to come away from me going, she's fucking awesome. Like you wouldn't go anywhere else. And that service works really well for them, and it is convenient for them, and they have an awesome dog at the end of it and they feel better. So it's probably the human transformation as much as the dog transformation. So I suppose that's the reason why I did it. Plus I'm always the sort of person that wants to do better and wants to find a way of, I don't know, like doing something to the best of my abilities. And I knew there was always more. I knew when I started dog walking, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because you will get bored of doing this in a few months. Oh, no, it didn't take even a few months, a few weeks in. But then I started getting all these clients in because it was an easy sell for me, because dog training brought in the clients that needed dog walking. So I was accidentally building this bloody empire of dog walking that I didn't actually want. And I was bored, like, as much as I enjoyed the dogs I was walking, and, you know, the ones that were a joy. And I got to know them like my own dogs, and you care and all that. I was bored shitless. Like every day I was like, I can't be having this. And I like to be somebody who's stimulated, and I like a challenge and stuff like that. And it just wasn't. So I think it wasn't just one thing. I think it was a few things, but they culminated together to form this big thing. But I remember when you presented it to me in an investment, and I literally, my mouth must have like opened onto the floor. I was like, fucking hell, what? How much? Like, and that's what my first thought was, oh, wow, no, I can't spend that much. So it was like 5K, I think it was, wasn't it? And for me to spend 5K on anything, like I've never spent that on a car even or anything like that. I was like, shit, no way. So I didn't tell Gareth, because we talk about a lot of stuff. Like I wouldn't have gone ahead with doing that unless I'd spoke to him first, because that's just, I don't need his approval, but I almost kind of do, because I want him to believe that I can do it. So I didn't have that conversation with him. And I remember opening the thing and going like, oh, that's a no. And just put it down, like my phone down or whatever. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, it's that much for a reason. Like, if you'd have put that investment at like 500 quid, I don't know if I'd have done it, because I wouldn't have valued it as highly. And that's genuine. Like, I've probably never told you that, but I might not have done it. And it was because it was so much that I was like, it's got to be fucking good then, if it's that much. And then I was like, no, you know, safety kicks in, like, can't afford that, all the things you tell yourself, you know. And I was like, nah. And I just kept thinking about it. And then Gareth got back from work, and I was like, I've got to speak to him about it, because I can't stop thinking about it. I told him, and he was like, what? It's the same reaction. And Gareth's quite a risk-averse person anyway, in a lot of ways. And he's like, really? You're not going to do that, are you? And I was like, no. I remember, like, so I think I was cooking dinner or something like that. I was like, nah. And I was like, so do you think it's like, do you really think it's a lot then? And he was like, well, what do you define as a lot? I suppose, yeah, compared to anything else you've ever done or anything else you've ever bought. Like, do you really want to spend that much money? And I was like, what if it changes things? What if it changes my life? And he was one that always used to say to me, hence the scrattiness, his phrase was, when are you going to stop scratting around walking other people's dogs? And he'd said that way ago, like years before. And that was in my head. And I was like, what if it stops me scratting around? What if it stops me scratting, walking other people's dogs, all of those things you've said. And he was just like, well, how do you know it's going to stop? How do you know it's going to change your life? And I was like, how do we ever know anything? There's no certainty around anything, let's face it. And then we started having a proper conversation about it. And he was like, well, I would like you to stop scratching around. I would like you deserve to earn more money. The amount of work you do, the amount of time you put into it. Like, I would like to see you earn more money. However, reservation. And I was like, okay. So I think we ended up having the sort of developed version of the conversation a few times within I don't know how long I took to make the decision, like a couple of days.
I was going to say, it wasn't long.
Wasn't that long,
No.
but it was like, I remember messaging you. So like, I'm thinking about it. I'll come back to you. And then I was just like, I've got to do this because nobody else has ever offered me anything like this before. Nothing has ever made me think as deeply as this. Nothing has ever made me question everything I'm doing so much since I met you. And it was just simple things that you'd say, and I'd go like, yeah, you are right. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it the way I'm doing it? Don't know. And I had no answer for some of the things that you would just come out with. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I remember saying it to him, and he's like, then I think that's the right decision and you should do it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I messaged you like, I'm going to do it. And it just felt like scary, really scary. But I knew with every ounce of my body, I was going to do everything you told me to do. And I did it. Some of them took a little while, but I think I did everything.
Yeah, you did. Can you imagine if you didn't make that decision?
I know.
CBA wouldn't exist.
No. Scary.
Very scary. Very interesting. So there's a lot in that. And in that time period then of fully committing and going, right, I am going to do something different. Because it is scary. Because again, like we've already said it, like the industry doesn't, in our opinion anyway, give you the skills to be a business owner. I mean, school doesn't even give you the skill. No. Like, you don't get anything unless you go out and seek it. And I think for a lot of us, we sometimes accidentally fall into this industry as well. Or we accidentally create a business and go, shit, it is actually a business.